Friends, welcome to this new episode. Today we are going to find out what happens inside an important and historic school in the federal capital, where Javier, a security guard who worked at this site, tells us details about some of the many things that happen, surely for a very long time, in this place. But in addition to this, stay because I'm going to show you a video about something that was filmed on January 6th, not long ago, in Posadas Misiones, and where you can spot something eye-catching. And also a photograph taken in a nursing home in Federal Capital, where you can see something that is really very strange. All this in today's chapter. I ask you to stay and tell me at the end, what do you think about each of these cases? Remember that you can send me your own experience to the WhatsApp number currently displayed on the screen. You can send as many audio messages as you want, with the duration you deem appropriate, as well as any photos or videos you may have available. I will review everything afterwards, and if I have any questions, I will get in touch with you. Also know that in a pinned comment, I leave all the important links, whether to my social networks, to the channel store, and also to my secondary channel. In a very short time, we will be presenting new and very interesting cases that you cannot miss. Friends, now we are about to start with this new paranormal story. Enjoy it. My name is Javier, and I could tell you that paranormal situations have become a constant in my life, and I don't say it by mere coincidence. I am a security guard, and throughout my life I have experienced totally unexplainable situations. Many have already appeared on the channel, some that happened quite some time ago, but today I'm going to tell you the latest one that happened to me, and it didn't happen in just any place. It was none other than at Normal School Number 1, in the heart of the federal capital, located on Cordoba Avenue between Riobamba and Ayacucho. I can give the details because at this moment I don't work there, and honestly, I don't think I'll do it again. And I also tell it so openly because the teachers themselves, directors, and surely the students who attend during the school year know about this. And also many more things that remain as simple comments. The building is over 150 years old, and it's more than clear that a lot has happened inside. Some good, others not so much, and others, why not bad, and they will never be known. All of this, and from my point of view, are energies that accumulate, that become part of the place, manifesting and attracting. Also other types of entities that simply stay, regardless of whether they are good or bad.
In February of this year, 2024, I work as a security guard. Clearly, they transfer me to Normal School Number 1, located at Cordoba Avenue, 1951, on shift from 22 to 6 hours. I didn't have to do rounds because the school has an alarm system with sensors, so I stayed on the ground floor. I had been assigned a classroom to be there, let's say, as a place of establishment.
Assigned. One of the features of this site is that the lights are mostly on for safety reasons. Therefore, everything was perfectly visible. The place has alarms in several of the sectors. And another fact is that in the entire block, there are a total of 4 buildings that are interconnected through an internal courtyard and different corridors. There is the High School Number 4, the Commerce School Number 10, the Normal Superior School 1, and the Normal Superior School in Living Languages Number 1. In my case, when I was transferred to do the surveillance, I entered through Paraguay Street at 2000, and through the internal courtyard, I went to the classroom that I had assigned to do my work. I never imagined that I would experience a paranormal situation here inside. Because beyond having witnessed many anomalous events, in this case I was very surprised. My shift, as I told you, was from 10 at night to 6 in the morning, and the first few days. The first few weeks went by completely normally, where absolutely nothing happened. Or maybe what happened was normal. You hear some noise, some strange sensation, but it doesn't go beyond that. The thing was that one Saturday everything changed radically. After midnight, I was having a coffee very calmly, and in a second, all this peace ended when a woman's scream made me jump from the chair. As rarely happened to me in my life, I wasn't scared, because many times these kinds of things happen to me. And what you have to do at that moment is, and mandatorily, check what is happening. After all, it's the job one is doing in this place. I looked out one of the windows onto the street, and indeed there was no one shouting. But the strangest thing is that the sound wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from the internal corridors of this building. A building where I was completely sure I was alone, because there was absolutely no one else but me. I took a deep breath, and in the meantime I could hear the scream of this woman, which was truly heartbreaking. If anyone has ever had the fortune or misfortune to go through something similar, they will understand that it is unlike anything we are used to. The sound seems to get inside you, inside your head. I emphasize again that it didn't scare me, it made me angry. I don't know how to explain it, but over the years it's the way I found to channel and better navigate these moments. I toured part of the area where I was authorized and found nothing. Unfortunately, I couldn't check the rest because the alarms were connected and the sensors were going to unnecessarily trigger when I went up. The thing was that as the minutes passed, this scream lowered its intensity until it disappeared and the night continued. You could say it was normal, although the anger I had turned into intrigue. What happened inside there in this school for something like this to manifest? I would have to try to answer this question, and I had no other option but to ask the local people, anyone who had been working there for years. At that moment, I remembered that experience I had at the seams, an experience that was published on the channel, and where one more or less manages to understand the nature of the events. Because of everything that happened at that site during the past years, but here it was a big mystery.
10 days passed, and again the scream of this young woman. I say a young woman because it was the scream of a woman that one believes is a young woman, calling for help, a heartbreaking scream. You don't know if the person is asking for help or not, because one doesn't know. It overwhelms me. This overwhelms me, and again I get angry and tell her to leave here because there is no other way to act. Because if one lets fear dominate them too, you're done. I can't allow fear to dominate me. The thing doesn't end there. The thing didn't end there. A few days pass, and on a Saturday at exactly 12 o'clock at night on the ground floor, I hear the murmur of many people, but of many people who were whispering, talking. And again, I go to check if it's on Paraguay Street, if there are people gathered. Because around the corner from the school, there's a disco. Maybe you'd think that's where people gather. You have to verify if what you're doing really comes from outside or happens in the school. The thing is, there was no one in this high school, and I heard a murmur of people, but there were a lot of people. A lot of people. On top of that, there's a sector of languages, which is a whole dark sector. Imagine, I'm not scared. I clarify, I'm not scared. Maybe because I've already had so many experiences. So many, and again, it was all a bustle of people. There was no one.
I checked many times and never found anything, and it was incredible to move away from the area for the event to repeat itself. Both the scream of this woman and also that murmur of people that I found terrifying, surprising, and very uncommon, because yes, that had never happened to me before. I discussed this with many people in the building. Some played dumb, avoiding the topic, you could say, but on the other hand, others gave me a piece of information they agreed on, and this was the most interesting thing. A few years ago, a group of people had conducted a series of invocation games there. Among them was the Ouija board. And they claimed that from that moment on, paranormal situations began to occur in the school that had no relation to each other, happening at different times and places, and that no one ever did anything to appease them. They were simply left alone, as they never hindered the operation of the establishment or the organisms that work there. At one point, even the rector of this place, without knowing anything about what I was experiencing, approached me to ask if everything was quiet at night or if strange things were happening. That's how he expressed himself. Honestly, I'm not afraid of ridicule because I'm very clear about what I see, what I hear, and what I feel. Even more so because for a professional matter, I verify in all possible ways and within my reach. Every single detail that happens is for a reason. When I can't find it, there's always a cause. I informed him about all the recent occurrences, starting with the shouts, murmurs, the noises, the shadows, everything. And beyond clearly hearing me and not responding or practically not telling me anything, I realized that in that place this was something known. It was normal, and it was practically naturalized. Perhaps a mistake that most of the time is repeated.
I also understand from another assistant that there was a woman who practiced black magic. One has to go asking to see where is the root of all this. There has to be a root, I suppose. I was asked to investigate, as that was the comment made at the time. Apparently, a woman also did black magic works. I don't know for what reason. A security guard from the company. I'm not going to give the name of the company. But one way or another, I've heard these screams, these voices, these murmurs, which were tremendous. Hundreds of people talking to you, murmuring something unintelligible. Moreover, I couldn't even understand their conversation. The only thing I can tell you as a point of reference is that, on the other hand, the historic Normal School number 1 was founded in 1874. Now, things have happened in the past. I don't know, but this is my testimony of having spent a few months in high school. And in the Normal number 1, this is my story and what has happened to me. A hug to the nervous-struck community, a hug to you, Andres.
And now what we're going to see? The video that I mentioned at the beginning was filmed just a few days ago, on January 6th in Posadas Misiones. From my point of view, it's probably a new batch of Starlink satellites recently put into orbit. At that moment, they are usually seen very close together, giving a train-like effect. But still, I want to read you the message from Gladys, who was there at that moment, filmed this video, and saw in greater detail everything we're going to see next. This happened today, January 6th at 21:11 in Posadas Misiones. A cigar-shaped object between 15 and 20 meters long, with windows. It didn't emit any sound. The noises are from cars on the avenue, and after this cigar-shaped object, 8 to 10 minutes. 2 lights passed behind without sound and turned off in front of my sight. I went to visit my mom. We were sitting enjoying in the patio of a beautiful night and she saw it. I ran, took my cell phone and filmed. Friends, I leave you with the video and then we continue with the photo that I mentioned at the beginning. Where is it?
Well, it's crossing the antenna. What is that? Look! I'm recording! Oh no, I can't see well. It's long and has little windows. Look, how crazy! No, my camera is terrible.
Finally, I'll show you a photo I received via WhatsApp where you can see something that, at minimum, grabs your attention. A person who works in a major nursing home in the federal capital, they took a completely casual photo to send it to their cousin, and only days later. One of them is that she noticed a detail that caught her attention, and when they asked her, they were not only surprised but also scared. I would like you to leave your own conclusion, not only about this photograph, but also about the video and Javier's case that we knew at the beginning. I say goodbye, see you in a few days, and now I send a big hug to everyone.